pubic hair. Okay. Yun pa yung time na na-post ako, diba? Alright, moving on.
Okay, you gotta take care of your pubic health.
She received her Master of Public Health, major in International Family Planning with special studies in sex therapy and marriage counseling for the University of Hawaii on a scholarship grant. Lastly, she obtained her doctorate degree in clinical psychology from the Ateneo de Manila University. Also, she is a well-loved TV personality. She created the first ever Philippine-based show dealing with psychological issues, No Nonsense, with Dr. Holmes. Aside from this, she penned 16 books on sex therapy and more. But more than her professional and academic success, she is known for her open-minded approach to sex therapy. The Philippines' own resident sex goddess doesn't discriminate or judge. She is a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, and she possesses an intelligent heart that knows the power of a healthy sex life. I can feel next like, I want to know more. It is my privilege to introduce the Master of Public Health, Dr. Margarita Holmes.
Oh wow, it's her.
Yeah. Hi, good evening. Naku, I'm looking at people I might know in media because truth be told, this is the group that's closest to my heart, but I think I'm too old now. We're over the hill because all of you look so young. At any rate, not that I'm saying that you look gorgeous. At any rate, even though I don't know you, you're all such young people, I hope you don't mind that I'm projecting. And as media people and as bloggers, I think what you always look for is something new, right? A bit of a hook. And so, with your permission, I would like to share what I know most about human sexuality or female sexuality. Because it is, well, I like to think it's interesting because it has to do not only with biology or physiology, but it also has to do with the social context within which we live, and in which case it also includes the political, etc. Although I don't think we'll talk about the political too much, unless you have questions during the open forum. Well, I'd like to start out by saying, Masters and Johnsons lied to us, okay? They lied to us because they told us that the human sexual response started with desire, then arousal, then orgasm, then resolution, the time between the last ejaculation and the next erection. And while that may be true for men, it is not true for women. But don't be too angry at them because in a way they started a sort of scientific way to look at sex. I mean, there have been so many people who had very good parts, like Freud, who also lied to us. In a way, I mean, they didn't purposely lie to us, but they talk, like Freud talked about penis envy. As though as though all of us were hoping for penises, all right? And he talked about when Freud talked about homosexuality being a function of
very confused by the time I get out of here.
Non-development, not sufficient development, and not reaching, a higher stage of development, which we all know now, research says is not true. But going back to Masters and Johnsons, one of the things they did, the major thing they did, is they made it baliktad. They turned it around, the first two steps. It is true that for men, generally, of course, as you know in psychology, you cannot really generalize, not to everyone. But as you know, for men, usually they have the desire and then they get aroused. That is the reason why men in the office, may want to make love as soon as they get home. The desire is already there. Then arousal, etc., etc. Women, they have found out, are the other way around. Arousal has to start first, and it is only then that desire comes in. Okay? Let me ask you, and if I'm wrong, tell me. No, and I know every man will make a beeline for you. Okay? Do you ever feel after you come home from work that all you want to do because you worked hard and if you had to commute or go through the traffic 2 to 3 hours from here, if you live in Quezon City the way we do, when you go home, you just want to rest. Right? I mean, am I the only one? No. See, I'm not the only one. Okay? All right? And you want to rest, and then there's your husband, horny as hell. And you know, at least if you're lucky, even though you don't want anything that night. No, and you love him, but parang nakakainis ka naman. Don't you see how tired I am? Right? And guys who try to make you feel guilty and have sex with them, which some guys do. And guys who try to frighten you, which some guys do too. Sige, kung ayaw mo, marami naman dyan. Right? Or they say it much more subtly, but the message is the same, are barking up the wrong tree. Because all they have to do is arouse us first, and usually after the arousal, you know, the desire comes in. And this is why we have to understand this. Iba talaga ang babae, iba talaga ang lalaki. And it's not because we're hele-hele, bago quiere, you know, we're just pretending. It's just the way we are. Right? And so what does that mean? That means, I hate the term because it sounds so cold and mechanistic. That means foreplay is important. Or in Filipino, which I think sounds so much better, ang pagroromansa. Ang pagroromansa, mahalaga yun eh. Okay? So, before I go further, I just want you to know, do you know this? What is the similarity between golf and sex? Alam ba niyo yan? Because men think they're better at both than they really are. Okay. The other one, and then we really go into foreplay. Not you, and not you, and I'm sure not any of the media folks. I'm sure. You know, I'm sure not any of the media folks. The other thing is, why do women fake orgasm? Eric, because the men fake foreplay. Okay, you know what I mean? 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, then chuk, chuk, chuk. Hindi ba nakakainis? That is not foreplay. That is not foreplay, right? Or is that foreplay? Nasanay na ba kayo sa ganun? Just ko die. Okay? So I wanted to start. I don't say much because I don't know. You know, I mean, I know about my husband and me, but you know, I cannot presume that I know about every woman here. But you know, based on the clinical research and based on my own clinical experience, this is what happens. You know, it's not that men are bastards. It's just that they don't know. They don't know, and perhaps if we could share some of these things with them, sex would be better. But of course, men also have to help us because they shouldn't make us feel, just because we suggest something, that, you know, we're bad women. Or they shouldn't think, saan nga ito natutunan? Where did she learn this? Does that mean she's a slut? Does that mean she has more sexual experience? No, I see some of you smiling. I think some of you can relate to it. Or if not you personally, your friends. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. I just thought of something, it's not in my notes. But this is an example of a woman telling a man what to do. You know this, and for once, the woman was more experienced than the guy. It was their wedding night. So after the wedding, the guy went into the room. He was very excited, and he said, "I love you, darling." And she said, "Lower, darling, lower." And he said, "I love you, darling." But it is important that we share information, and I will give you an example later. Talking about foreplay, there was a study done by Cosmopolitan magazine. I know it's not a respected university, but still, I think it was, so far as I know, it was the only study that was done on over 2,000 women. And what they found out is that women needed a minimum of 20 minutes of foreplay before they were ready for penetration. Okay? Just something to think about. And of course, as I say, there's a range, but something to think about. Now, usually, if foreplay is good, and as I say, please forgive me for using that word because it makes it seem like it's a step 1, step 2, you know, 2 minutes, and then, no, it's not like that, no. But after foreplay, if the foreplay is good, perhaps a woman might reach orgasm, okay? And I hope you know that, well, as a clinical psychologist, the orgasm isn't the goal, right? I mean, isn't it? What is lovemaking? Literally, it is lovemaking. You know, it's a way to validate each other's being in person. And in a way, if orgasm comes, why not? You know, I wouldn't kick it out of bed. No, but, you know, just because I don't want women, because studies have shown that women have a more difficult time getting an orgasm than men do. I don't want women to feel that they're failures just because they don't have orgasms. Because Lord knows we've been made to feel failures in so many other ways when it comes to sex. Okay? So, before I go further, do you know the different kinds of orgasm? Because this will be tied up to things later. Alam niyo ba yun? Can you think of any kind of orgasm aside from multiple and simultaneous? Okay? So, what kind
We're gonna cut
is
this
the
for a minute and
religious
start
orgasm?
another video.
Can you